Getting a win on stage is the best feeling ever, unless it's against Chuck. That wasn't the best feeling ever. But other than that, it's amazing. Chuck and I have been trying to play on a team since, I think it was either 2011 or early 2012. We played NAO tournament, and we won, actually. Ryan was like the only person I'd play with at this point, for sure. And then we won at Sam, I think, right away as well. I think it was always like Sam. With this team, I mean, I'd always play with them. They're amazing.
I don't know if I could say I expect to win. I feel like saying you expect to win is just a very bold, cocky statement. I expect to play well, and I definitely think that we can win. And I think as long as we prepared as well as we think we have, and no teams have, crazy curveballs for us that we're just unable to answer, I would say it's definitely a really high chance. I expect to do well in this tournament, and obviously winning is the main goal, but I don't think you can come here and expect to win. There's just so many things that can change, and I've been to BlizzCon a few times, and I went there once saying I was going to win, and I went home very sad, so definitely can't underestimate anyone here. For me to win BlizzCon, I think it would be one of the most incredible feelings ever. It's been something that I've been chasing for so long, not necessarily for the prize pool, not necessarily for the glory, but just to say I did it.
I think there's a lot of pressure on us to perform well, but I don't go on with the expectation. I think it just comes down to our performance, and hope things go our way. I believe in us, though.
This next series could determine the fate of this tournament. The #1 team in North America is going up against the #2 team from EU, and honestly, the #2 team in EU, that really does not do justice to just how scary Skill-Capped has looked in recent months. The main thing on our minds right now is what on earth are the compositions that are going to be locked in? You heard in that little piece, Sidu basically saying, we don't know if any curveballs are going to be thrown at us, but VHEL recently, I feel like it's Method Orange who has some of the curveballs.
It's very true. I think that they held that comp so close to their chest, they wouldn't even tell us what it was. We never spoil any of these comps for other players and stuff. Players, you can trust us. We won't say anything. But they still wouldn't because of how high profile that comp ended up being. I mean, think about it. The changes to Death Knights, yes, people think they're kind of falling out of the meta, but Death's Advance means that they can stick to a target that has high snares. There's a lot of high snaring teams that they're playing against, lots of Frost Mages, and it's a great answer so far.
And they definitely didn't want any of the other teams knowing about it. They employed it early on. Now the other teams are probably trying to prepare for it, but we don't know if they have anything else up their sleeve. There's a very real chance that they do. And Skill-Capped EU, is it more linear for them, Adrian? Do you think you have a better idea of what they want to lock in?
I think Skill-Capped EU, I think I gave some stat at the start of opening week. They played like 92% of their games as Turbo Cleave. You can bet it's going to be some variation of Turbo Cleave, but hey, if there's one thing we've seen in this tournament, it's that Demon Hunter Moonkin does very well into Turbo Cleave. And guess what Method Orange is bringing? They're bringing Trill on the Demon Hunter. He's played in almost every single game for the team. And I think most people would agree he's the best Demon Hunter in the world.
And also it's kind of becoming their main comp in a way too. I think Method Orange would like to play that composition quite a bit, but you talk about stats, you start talking about math, I feel like there's some convincing numbers in Method's favor right now. I saw a sign a little bit earlier, 1 in 4, right? 4 losses, 1 for each dog, 1 win for the baby. That's math. That's some NA math there. There's some real potential there. And then also you look at Chuck, 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, 2nd place, took a break to be a caster. Now he's back. First place. Yeah, he's a really good caster too.
I think Mike Morheim said at the start of the year, like, how many of the people in the audience have been to every single BlizzCon? Well, they'll have seen Chuck here 4 times, they'll have seen him lose 4 times, but they'll have seen that progressive improvement. He came 2nd last time, and he was very close to 1st.
That was my first BlizzCon, and that was one of the craziest finals, right? And you talk about some of the players on that other team, and they're kind of going to be waiting in the upper portion of the bracket as well. So very scary tournament left, a lot of real competition, and that's why we really need to talk about why are we saying this particular matchup can have such a big impact, Joe?
I mean, it could just have such a big impact, and they're just really afraid of this composition XRB, well, formerly known as XRB Skill Cap EU. They've just been so afraid of the Demon Hunter, Moonkin, Resto Shaman, and Method Orange play that composition the best. We've seen even old compositions come out throughout this entire tournament, and Method Orange are the best at that. They're going to be shaking in their boots.
That's definitely, I feel like there has been one weakness for Skill Capped in each meta, right? They definitely had a little bit of struggles with that Outlaw Rogue. Now the question is, Vihel, do you feel like Demon Hunter is potentially that weakness for them? Joe, you started to say that you think that it is, but we're jumping right into the action here, and we are going to see. They got to be a little bit tricky here.
Look at this comp, Fury Warrior?
They're bringing out the Fury Warrior. I love this spec so much, and Warwick's on that Moonkin. They're the ones throwing the curveball right now. Skill Cap EU bringing this crazy competition against Method Orange, who are sticking with their guns, playing that Demon Hunter, Moonkin, Restoration Shaman, and I am so excited for this one, Adrian.
I am super excited. 77% of you said Method Orange would win this series. I normally vote for Europe, but on this occasion, I am with you guys in the Twitch chat. 77% are watching Warwick drop low here. It's an interesting composition from Skill Cap to you, but the win condition for Method Orange with those mana rifts, with those mana burns on Looney still exists. It's going to be very difficult for Skill Cap to overcome that.
It can be very difficult, but at the same time, we do have a Fury Warrior munching on the Samayam right now, getting him very low on HP. Warwick popping that Incarnation as well, and it's going to be the first time we really see him on that Moonkin, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can live up to Samayam as well and kind of outshine him on that specialization. Right now, Samayam is taking a lot of damage. He had to use that basket as well. At the same time, Warwick's using that renewal to survive Trill's pressure, and we all know Trill is a monster on that Demon Hunter.
He really is. I mean, most people have been saying he's the best Demon Hunter in the world. He barely anyone else played this class throughout the BFA qualifier cups. He was the only one, and he was winning almost every single game on it. One of the interesting things I do want to draw people's attention to is the Samayam is running the Living Spirit trade, which means he will do huge burst every single time that he runs with that Innovate talent. He'll get huge damage. Meanwhile, Warwick is actually going for a little bit more consistent damage, running talents such as the kind of laser matrix, stuff like this. So he's hoping for a little bit more of an attrition war, which is very much what Skill Cap EU have been doing all year.
Yeah, exactly. They love to bring the damp, and they're going to try and bring it to Method Orange, but will they be able to? Samayam does have 1 minute on that Incarnation when it comes, so you're going to expect a huge amount of pressure. Trill using that reverse magic on every single root read from Warwick's as well, forcing him into that. At the same time, they're making those swaps onto Trill, and that's what I would love to see. These Stormbolt swaps onto Trill to get pressure with that Dragon's Roar, and that Siege Breaker is a lot of Fury Warrior damage, so you should be able to watch out for that.
This is really interesting. So basically, Skill Cap EU are saying, let's meet fire with fire. They brought out the Fury Warrior because they don't think they can beat Trill on the Demon Hunter, so they're like, hey, this is the next best thing. Blizzo playing his main, Trill playing his main here, but so far, Warwick slightly worse for wear, and you can notice the mana difference is the big thing that Method Orange are playing for. Basically, the Demon Hunter with that Mana Rift talent will be constantly burning away at Looney every single time he lands a stun, basically every 20 seconds off DR, and if he can consistently do that, they'll him going into dampening, which will make it very hard for Skill Cap.
That will make it very difficult, and maybe their win condition will have to turn. Instead of dampening people, they might need to try and find these win conditions in the Stormbolt and that Fury Burst, so we'll have to see. I like the swaps that they do all the time, so I don't think the Tunnel War on the Moonkin should favor Method Orange, because Trill has so much damage on that Demon Hunter to go through the armor of a Moonkin.
Yep, it's something that we will be watching for. Looney trades out his Earthen Shield Totem there for the Incarnation of Samayam. Samayam also with Living Spirit up will be doing a huge amount of damage at this moment in time, though well diverted, I would say, by Looney, although big cooldowns being forced by Blizzard. He needs to be very careful. The Enrage Regeneration now swapping damage over onto Samayam. Still has those offensive cooldowns active, but Looney did a good job trading out and keeping his team alive.
Yeah, he had to use that trigger and a lot of defensive cooldowns, but like we said, that is because of Samayam's Incarnation. Meanwhile, he's taking the brunt of the pressure right now. Sea-Doo popping that Earthen World Tome. Very solid defensive gameplay, I would say, from both teams coming out right now. Although it is early stages of the game, we'll see if they'll be able to keep up with that.
Something that we will be watching for. Looney's been doing a fantastic job with his mana, I have to say, considering most people, when we see them against Trill, they just kind of run out of that blue bar almost instantly and can't keep up with the damage. Looney, of course, we've been talking about him. Sea-Doo, such a great healer, but Looney in Europe is considered to be one of, if not the best healer in the world. He's playing the Restoration Shaman that he won BlizzCon on, in 2014. So definitely a fair matchup. He's going for another drink here, consistently using this map to his advantage, and he's actually been keeping a very even tide in this game.
Yeah, he is, and now Warwick's popping that Incarnation, full fit on the CD. They're getting a lot of pressure on the Samayam. He has to use that basket there to survive this pressure. Even Trill coming back to keep them locked out. Nice pummel from Blizzard as well. He is the pummel king on that warrior. You don't want to face him as a caster right now. Both Mookins just pretty much stalemate. Root Beam on the CD right now. Samayam's prepared for that. Gonna just stick into bear form, make sure he doesn't tank too much pressure. And Blizzard's just gonna swap between the Mookin or the Shaman most of the time to try and get as much pressure as possible.
Samayam's had such a great year. Since joining this roster, he's had such incredible games online. Now he just needs to prove himself offline. He hasn't had the opportunity yet since, of course, at the summer finals, CD wasn't there. Now this roster, now this Method Orange is at full force here as we start to move into dampening. 2%, 3% as the clock starts ticking away at both of these healers. You see Sidu actually falling a little bit behind here. He needs to be careful. If he stacks up too much, then Blizzard will absolutely destroy him.
Yeah, once that dampening kicks in, you just kind of realize just how much damage a Fury Warrior does when you're not able to out-heal it, so he needs to be careful for that. He needs to be prepared for that, but he's at full mana, so that's as much preparation as he can do. Meanwhile, Looney's falling a bit behind, but we all know he's the king of dampening, so he's going to expect this longevity of a game to happen right now. But soon, both Mookins will have their Incarnation. Samayam has 25 seconds left on it. As soon as he gets that, it's going to spell trouble for Skillcat DU.
Yeah, that's the big win condition here for Method Orange, the Incarnation. We know how deadly that cooldown is. I think it was actually the cooldown that almost won Sidu the BlizzCon in 2016. Of course, he was playing with Beamslayer back then. Now with Samayam on the Moonkin Druid, looking for it. We'll see that Lively Spirit Innovate being popped here momentarily. Watch Samayam. Here's the Innovate. He's building up his damage now. It's up to Sidu. Use globals. Build up the intellect for the Moonkin Druid, and then Blizzo should be the target of choice.
Yeah, he should, but he's going to have that Enrage Regeneration defensive cooldown every time they have Incarnation, so they need to be careful. There it is being popped. They're trying to get pressure. They use the Root Beam onto Looney. Samayam is gunning down Warwick's, but he's doing an excellent job running away right now. Warwick's predicted this already, positioned at the pillar, and just had his basket and trinket ready for this exact moment. And now Blizzo is counter-pressuring, trying to get aggressive with that recklessness. The Dragon's Roll popped out. So much burst pressure on a Samayam. He's getting lower and lower on HP. He has to pop that renewal, and soon Warwick will have his own Incarnation.
Yeah, we talked about Warwick versus Chanimal. Now this game's come a little bit more about Warwick versus Samayam. Moonkin versus Moonkin here on the BlizzCon stage. Method Orange, they have this kind of one-shot, but Skillcap TU have proven time and time again they're great against playing against these play-to-win compositions, these compositions that look for the kills actively. They like dampening, and they don't make mistakes defensively. Samayam behind the pillar, Blizzo tunneling into him on that Fury Warrior, and now Method Orange are the ones that seem to be falling behind.
Yeah, Blizzo on that Fury Warrior going to keep up that pressure, and it's going to be very easy for him to keep up to a Moonkin as well, so Samayam needs to be very careful right now, but he goes aggressive as now full Root Beam on the Looney. Triple crowd control coming in. Nice awareness from Method Orange. Nice offensive play. They force out that basket from Warwick. He's also still getting lower and lower. Needs to be careful right now. At the same time, Samayam dropping as well. Both these Moonkins are just going to have to play both flawlessly, offensively and defensively.
Trill's been also in the backline, just constantly getting Sidu out of those Root Beams. Now he has to trade out the Darkness, that huge 3-minute defensive cooldown for the Demon Hunter. Method Orange showing that they will falter as Dampening starts to sack Blizzo, just tunneling in Samayam. Don't think this guy's missed a pummel the entire game, just forcing him into bear form, forcing his damage down, and the momentum definitely riding in favor of the Europeans here as we see full Stormbot over onto Sidu. He just can't catch a break here, which is I mean, it's just causing him to fall behind. Meanwhile, Looney's just freely casting heals, keeping Warwick aggressive, takes out the Urban Shield Totem now. But they might have actually found a composition here that beats the Demon Hunter Moonkin. It's very interesting to see how this game will play out.
They might have found that composition indeed, and it's just the change of a Fury Warrior instead of that Demon Hunter, although Looney is running out of mana, so those mana rifts might pay off for Trill in the long game, but we are in 23% dampening, and I wouldn't hold it against either team to get further into this. They're both incredibly play defensively, so we'll be able to see this, but at the same time, Incarnation for Samayam coming up soon. Warwick's dropping low on HP right now as well. No Earthen Wall Totem available from Looney, and like I said, he's dropping lower on mana.
This could well be the last chance. We've seen Method Orange struggling so much as Dampening's been starting to stack up. The mana pulls in their favor, yes, but it will always be against the Demon Hunter. Samayam's offensives here could be the win for the team. We see Fear actually used from Blizzo a little bit early. This could be the opportunity as we see crowd control on Samayam. Now we're expecting that Innovate to be popped here momentarily. Warwick dropping a little bit low. Innovate is active now. They're building up the damage. In about 10 seconds, we're expecting huge burst from Samayam. How will Skillcap react?
Yeah, Warwick's dropping lower and lower. Had to use the renewal as well. This is going to be very scary for him soon when Samayam gets that incarnation, and Warwick knows that he's already positioned behind the pillar. Really wants to line of sight Samayam this whole time right now, but Samayam gets put in between them. There's the incarnation being forced right now. A lot of pressure coming out to Warwick. He doesn't use the bark skin right yet because Looney uses that earthen wall tome. Excellent job by Looney, but he's still getting chunked through it. They need to be very, very careful right now until the incarnation phase from Sam.
Yeah, Looney's also running out of mana. He's having to use the bare minimum that he has left to keep his team alive here through unrelenting pressure from Samayam. So much devastation, so much destruction from the side of Method Orange, but that cooldown will expire momentarily, and if Skillcaps can survive it, which it looks like they have, they may well be in the clear here. Warwick will now have his incarnation momentarily. He's the one playing aggressive. Looney's even sitting down for a drink here. They're looking confident as Dampling stacks higher and higher.
Yeah, they are confident. They survived that incarnation. Now they'll be looking to try and get a kill. At the same time, though, Blizz and Warwick still very low on HP. Barkskin gets forced right now. The root beam with a stun onto Looney. Warwick's getting lower and lower on HP. Still has the Barkskin active for quite some time. Looney needs to be able to pump out the heals. He has the Earthen Wall Tome if needed. Meanwhile, Cedu gets put into a 30. Instantly trinkets overlap with Samayam's trinket, but it may not do too well. And a low cyclone on the Warwicks right now is making it very difficult for Looney to keep him top.
Yeah, Cedu actually traded out the Spirit Link Totem there to keep Samayam aggressive. Double trinkets coming out. This could be dangerous. We see a full root beam. Meanwhile, Warwick pushing in. This is the incarnation. They're looking for the kill here. Over onto Samayam. Good Earthen Shield Totem to deflect. Coming in from Cedu, trying to keep his team aggressive here. But Blizzo's unrelenting. He doesn't care about Earthen Shield Totem. This guy is absolutely destroying Samayam throughout the game, just tunneling him down on that Fury Warrior. 39% dampening, and Cedu's mana has been dropping lower and lower. Now we see Warwick dropping low, though. There is a Spirit Link available for Looney. He does trinket out. Doesn't look like he's going to trade it just yet.
Yeah, he used the renewal instead right now in bear forms as well, so he's going to take a lot less damage when he's in that bear form right now, so well played by Warwick there. Meanwhile, Samayam gets low. Full Storm on the Cedu. He has no trinket. Samayam just trying to live in that bear form for now. Blizzard's pumping the pressure right now on that Fury Warrior. Getting a lot of damage, forcing out the darkness as well. Both these Moonkids taking an incredible amount of heat right now. Warwick's getting very low, uses the Barkskin as well, but he gets cycloned low on it. That's going to be very difficult for Skillcap DU to come out of.
This has been the most close dampening game. Skillcap TU almost always win when it goes to 43% dampening, but Method Orange have been going with them toe for toe. Trill on this Demon Hunter doing so much work. Warwick cannot kite him, he cannot get away. Meanwhile, also getting Cedu out of the crowd controls consistently. Cedu now, though, has finally oomed Looney. Looney has no more mana in the tank. Warwick caught up in center field right now. If they can reconnect to him, they have the incarnation momentarily. Innovate for Samayam. Method Orange looking to close the game in a few seconds right here.
Yeah, this will be a very scary incarnation. Coming up a 50% dampening incarnation. I have no idea how Skillcap DU will survive. There's a full cycle onto the Looney right now. Warwick is running for dear life. He needs to line of sight Samayam the entire time or he will just go down right now. Trill doing a lot of pressure anyway, and down he goes. Samayam getting that Star Surge onto him, and they take that Naggrand Arena game.
Phenomenally played on both sides as well. Method Orange going to be able to grab the first one under that NA banner, under that Method banner, but we got to talk about the composition that we actually see come out from Skillcap, because Fial, I definitely did not expect to see that when I woke up this morning.
No, but I mean, it's a smart call. The Fury Warrior is very sturdy right now, you know, a lot of self-healing. Tons of mobility, actually, because they have a PvP talent that every time they Bloodthirst, which is one of their rotational low cooldown abilities, removes snares and they run faster. So you have the constant uptime on the targets. You've got the Moonkin, but he wasn't playing the Lively Spirit build, which was really interesting. They were definitely going for that long game with Skillcap.
Man, a lot of people out in the stands cheering for Mr. WoW himself. Cheering for Trill right now, one of the big innovators in the scene, but it is Skillcap EU who has been able to innovate as well. It didn't pay off, but we need to take a look at this right here.
This was really funny right at the end where they're chasing around the pillar. I thought that Walrix was going to be able to escape. So basically the way that Lively Spirit works is you innovate your healer, they need to cast as many spells as they can during Innervate. Something that you can min-max a little bit with this is Sea-Doo is a troll, which means he has Berserking as a Rachel, so that when Innervate gets popped, he's gonna use his Berserking and try to get as many spells off as possible, because once that Innervate fades, Sam is just gonna get a ton of int from it. I will say though, Skill Cap DU adjusted to that very quickly after the first scary burst. So you don't know what your enemy team is running for Azerite traits. You can kind of take a guess the second that he hits Incarn, and then one Star Surge just chunks your bar down really hard. And then after that, they played very, very defensively. Every time they saw the Innervate go out, they were ready to react and getting ready to kite away.
You know, we've brought it up time and time again. One of the best warriors in the entire world is hands down Blizzo. And seeing him be able to, on the fly, adapt to that, and also to find not only breaks, but also set up potential kills for his squad. Blizzo is a huge threat to be going against.
He is, and there's a reason why he's the best warrior in the world. I mean, personally, I think that as well. He just plays it so phenomenally well, both offensively and defensively. Unfortunately, Fury doesn't have too many defensive utilities under his belt, but like you said, with those Stormbolt offensive goes, he's able to get a lot of crushing pressure, and I don't think he misses a pummel. This guy just doesn't miss a pummel.
It definitely doesn't miss pummels. He turns Stormbolt into one of the most impactful buttons in just about every matchup as well. But Sea-Doo said in that little piece that we saw before we jumped into the blind pick, the only thing that they had to worry about was curveballs. They just hit a curveball right out of the park. So what does that mean for the rest of the series?
I was hesitant coming into this tournament to say that Method Orange were the favorites for me. I thought maybe Skill Cap to you, but from talking to all the teams, I'm increasingly starting to believe that this Demon Hunter Moonkin composition, Trill specifically on the Demon Hunter, may well be enough this year for Sea-Doo. They have been looking so fantastic on this composition. They've brought in Samayam. The last question I had, Samayam's never had fantastic performances in the live environment. He's always been fantastic online, but he's a young guy. He's 20 years old. He's had a fantastic year, and he's really stepping up here on the Moonkin. It's a very predictive play when you play this Lively Spirit, when you play the Innervate, but he's always in the position that he can make those plays happen. And against Skill Cap to you, one of the best teams Europe's bringing, they're looking great.
You know, after seeing Samayam jump into Sea-Doo's shoes when Sea-Doo wasn't able to make the tournament, I had no question about how he's going to be able to perform in the live environment. Yeah, it was a very, very tough tournament for them, but the way that he handled that pressure, the way that he stepped up to actually play Shaman and heal, this is a guy that you want on your team without a question. But I also want to touch on something else that you said, Adrian. Every single one of the casters, when we got together before the tournament started, I'm trying to remember how long ago it was, when we all made our predictions, everybody either predicted Method Orange or Skill Cap DU.
Yeah, it was true. I mean, we really thought that these were the two teams that were going to make it the distance just because of how stacked these rosters are. I mean, we've talked about land jitters in the past and stuff, and how, the first time you're up on the stage when there's a crowd this big yelling and screaming every time somebody gets close to death on your team or the enemy team can really set you off like a little bit. And then especially if you lose that first round in a match like this. But then when you have these players who have been in that exact same situation, have thrown tournaments because of it, they know that you can't panic at all. And that's what that whole game was. Right at the end was a great example. We saw Trill chasing Walrix around the pillar. Walrix actually almost got away for a very large amount of time. Lively Spirit only lasts for 20 seconds, so if you don't capitalize that and you can CC or run away long enough, you're not going to have those big impact hits. Mez
brought up a huge point as well. Being up on the main stage, playing up on the main stage is a phenomenal experience unless you're playing against Sea-Doo. He does have that home field advantage quite often here at BlizzCon, but when you look at the Skill Cap lineup, Joe, you know these guys better than most people. I just don't think that they feel that pressure.
Yeah, I don't think they do, and I've had the pleasure to play with them as well, and they're just such a great team, elitists on all of their main classes that they play. I mean, there's high respect for Looney right now. Everyone just thinks he's flat out the best healer in the world. But unfortunately for them, they just hit this curveball. They just don't seem to have an answer against the Demon Hunter, Moonkin, Shaman. And that's why you didn't see the Turbo Cleave come out. You saw this new composition come out, and it looked pretty close, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to reverse sweep or win a best of 5 against them.
This is interesting as well now.
It
Taking
is.
a look at what skill cap's going to be breaking out here. And we talked about Demon Hunters and how they were kind of underutilized. Trill being that pioneer. VL, what do you think Blizzo's going to be able to offer here while backing up Z-Pi?
I think what they're going to do is, we saw in the last match where Trill was able to score a lot of mana rifts onto Looney, you know, stun into mana rift, burn 8% of his mana. I think this is the answer to that. I think that they want to pressure Sea-Doo a lot more than he was before. Yes, we saw plenty of root solar beams come out onto Sea-Doo that he couldn't get out of it in last match, but he really wasn't pressured mana-wise compared to Looney at all. Like, towards the end of the game, there was once we called out, Looney was completely dry of mana. Sea-Doo still had 20-30% of mana, so he was able to pull it to the long game. This Havoc Demon Hunter means that not only are you going to have the massive amount of utility that you've talked about before, you know, Demon Hunter feels like you're playing a class that has an answer to just about everything. And then that is a great class to build a comp around.
And also, you know, you take it a step further here, Joe. This doesn't seem like a comp that they're necessarily grabbing here in Game 2 out of desperation. They are pretty close to home, pretty close to classes that they do want to be playing.
Yeah, and they have practiced this composition a lot, actually, with Blizzo on that Demon Hunter. It's just the Warrior is that kind of comfort pick for him. Everyone knows he's a god on that Warrior, so you really want Blizzo to be playing that, but he's a very good Demon Hunter as well. Z-Pi also been playing that Enhancement Shaman since BFA come out, winning 2 BFA cups with it on that specialization, so it definitely could be a good answer, and, you know, just fight fire with fire, play a Demon Hunter as well.
This is huge for them, though. This really is going to be the big one, because right now, Method gets to essentially play their main composition here. We expect them to sit on it for quite some time right now, Adrian.
I think so, and if skill capped, this is the question mark that I always had to them. I was talking to Looney a little bit prior to the series as well, and he was saying this is a very difficult matchup for them. Normally, skill capped you could just mirror, but Trill is just so good at this Demon Hunter, so the big question in this game for me is going to be how Blizzo can keep up.
There's a little saying with Trill, and that is he tends to take people to Trillville. Method Orange going to be leading by 1. Will Skill-Capped EU be able to answer with a Demon Hunter of their own?
Yeah, Blizz are going to be playing that Demon Hunter right now. Z-Pi stepping on that Enhancement Shaman, and Looney playing that Resto Shaman. We see Method Orange sticking with their guns here. Sea-Doo on that Resto Shaman, Samayam on the Moon Kid, and Trill on that Demon Hunter, and already an Incarnation being forced onto Z-Pi. So much pressure, forcing the Astral Shift stun onto Looney as well. He can't trick it out. An insane amount of pressure right now. They might just get a kill instantly, but Blizzo uses that darkness to keep him just about alive, and Looney sneaks in that Spirit Link. What an explosive opener.
It's not over yet. Z-Pi still in trouble, able to duck behind the pillar. This is tournament experience being shown right here. Method Orange with a little pocket. They did the sneaky innovate in the starting room. Then Sea-Doo cancels it, still gets the buff from the Lively Spirit and almost catches Skill Cap to you of all teams off guard. But Z-Pi somehow, as he always seems to, narrowly gets away.
He narrowly gets away. Method Orange nearly sneaking an early kill right now, and the pressure is still ongoing on the Z-Pi right now. He has no Astral Shift and no Earthen Wall Tome for quite some time, but Looney gonna stick with that defensive gameplay. Nice shear though coming in from Sea-Doo. He's also getting aggressive. There's the Root Beam double stun coming in right now. Both Z-Pi and Looney, they overlap trinkets right now. You usually don't see that overlap happen for quite some time. A stun onto Looney right now. Z-Pi taking a ton of pressure from Method Orange right now, but they're showing some light. They force out the Bark Skin as well with a stun onto Sea-Doo.
This is a team that never makes mistakes normally, but Method Orange is forcing the issue here on game 2. Asher mains 4. Z-Pi probably didn't expect to anticipate this amount of damage, but now he's starting to get the game to do. He's turning the tides a little bit here, getting some damage over onto Samayam, forces out the Renewal, forcing him back into bear form, and of course the Moonkin Druid, very tanky in bear form, but he won't be dealing so much offensive pressure. He'll have to be babysat a little bit more by Trill. That's the situation that Skill Cap are looking for.
Yeah, they are looking for that as well. They forced out the Earth and Wall Tome from Sea-Doo, so they're turning the tides a little bit, getting a lot of pressure on the Samayam. which is very good and what they need to keep on doing, but at the same time, they need to survive the next Incarnation Bear because Looney and Z-Pi, they will narrowly have their trinkets ready. And there we see the double stun once again, but this time Blizzard rotates his trinket to get the reverse magic onto that root to break Looney out of that root beam. That's going to keep them alive.
Yep, Z-Pi ducking behind the pillar here, just kind of stabilizing a little bit. No trinket still available for skill cap to use, so this crowd control chain could be dangerous as we see full stun over onto Looney. Do they have any follow-up? Doesn't look like it. Samayam has been forced into a defensive positioning. Thorns again coming out to keep his team alive here as Z-Pi moving away a little bit. This game's kind of got to a little bit of a stalemate. It's been interesting to watch the mana of both the Shamans, of course, Demon Hunters on both sides burning away at that, but both Sea-Doo and Looney proving why they're some of the best healers in the world, doing a great job of healing efficiently throughout.
Yeah, they are two of the best Shamans for sure. Samayam dropping low right now. Blizzard and Z-Pi piling the pressure onto him with a sap onto Sea-Doo. Double cap stun onto the DPS. Well played by Z-Pi and Blizzard. They're trying to get some of their offensive synergy to take down Samayam and forcing the other wall turn, but now Samayam has used that innovate. There's the root beam. He has the Incarnation. He pops it. Z-Pi already used the Astral Shift, but Blizzard getting very low. Needs to be careful. And clutch wind shear coming out from Looney for them to survive, but they still need to be careful. Tons of pressure coming out onto Z-Pi right now. Samayam is free casting, doing a lot of damage.
Z-Pi actually used his Astral Shift before the damage even started there, which was a very scary situation to be in because now he doesn't have that Astral Shift. Now he's in trouble. Looney really struggling to keep his team alive through that Lively Spirit time and time again. The win condition for Method Orange is obvious. Meanwhile, Skill Cap TU just trying to tunnel down Samayam, go through that bear form, which is definitely not an easy win condition. They're going to need a lot of dampening if they are to make this work, which means Z-Pi and Blizzo especially are going to have to play a fantastic defensive game, which they're capable of. But I would say that they're starting to falter in game 2.
Yeah, they are starting to falter, and they really need to be on top of those Incarnations, but they have some time, some leeway right now to just pressure Samayam, force them defensive, and get a lot of momentum during the time he doesn't have that Incarnation ready. They force out the Earthen Wall Totem. They also forced out the Darkness earlier as well, so a lot of defensive cooldowns are used, but Samayam's going to have that Bark Skin soon. They still have the Spirit Link. They're still going to be fine for now. And at the same time, Looney's actually the one losing out on mana just now. Yeah,
Sea-Doo actually even sitting down for a little drink there, able to get some of his mana back, elongate the game for his team, make it easier for him to keep them alive. Z-Pi once again on the run, no offensive cooldowns really being committed, but they're just doing so much damage. They force out the Astral Shift here before the Living Spirit, before the Lively Spirit rather, comes out from Samayam, before all those big offensive cooldowns. It should match up pretty evenly, but it's not good signs for skill capped.
Yeah, it's not good signs. They need to try and pressure Samayam even more. There's the Bark Skin though being forced. Nice wind shear onto Sea-Doo right now. He pops at the Ascendance as well. He really wants to keep up Samayam, keep him alive. And I like that Trill's using the mana rifts on the DPS because it actually does quite a lot of damage and makes it hard for Looney to heal if he has to heal both the Demon Hunter and the Enhancement Shaman. So I like this clutch move coming in from Trill. Meanwhile, Blizzard's trying to just mana rift and Sea-Doo. Looney's sitting down for a drink, but Trill's all over that. Nice root tome though coming out from Looney to just make sure he doesn't get any pressure.
Yep, the map choice from Skill Cap's actually very smart. They choose the big map, which means that when Looney does go for those drinks, even if Trill ports across the map basically to stop him, which he will, Demon Hunter mobility is very, it's very good, means that he'll be able to root him behind the pillar with no dispel from Sea-Doo and enable him to get a bit more in the game. But meanwhile, Sea-Doo says, hey, anything you can do, I can do better. And he gets the drink to full mana in this game. Now, as Dampening starts to stack, he's going to feel none of the pressure. And guess what? Innovate is back off cooldown. Samayam's going to be looking to set something up quite devastating here.
He is indeed. He has that Innovate right now. Incarnation in 10 seconds. Blizzard and Z-Pi still staying aggressive, but they are caught out in the middle of the map. The Innovate is gone right now. Samayam going to be looking to get as much pressure, but Z-Pi knows that. He's running back instantly. Blizzard still out core in open field. Double stun onto Z-Pi and Looney. They're trying to get some pressure. There's the Incarnation right now. Z-Pi immediately uses the Astral Shift. Blizzard going to be in trouble. Blur comes out as well. Ascendance from Looney. A lot of defensive cooldowns coming up to deal with this Incarnation from Samayam.
Yeah, it's dealing with it well, but at the same time, Samayam dropping a little bit low. Needs to be careful. Z-Pi in trouble as we see Darkness coming out from Blizzo. Last defensive. Now, let's take a moment here. Last time we said that Method Orange was going to win or lose on a setup. We were completely wrong. They lived 3 more minutes and they got the kill. Look at Looney's mana. If they can keep this going until he runs out of that mana pool, One more 3-minute setup would easily be it for Method Orange. They just need to keep the pressure up, keep Looney dropping low, and a lot of that comes down to Trill. Watch how he gets these mana rifts. It could be the game-winning play.
Yeah, this is a dire situation for Skillcap EU, and they know it. They're trying to get these kills on the Samayam, force the defensive cooldowns, keep Suidu in CC, and try to slay him, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to. They're on a ticking time bomb right now, and you don't want Samayam to get that incarnation off with that lively spirit trait. We see Blizzard already trade out the darkness right now, so he won't have it for that next incarnation. This could be huge for them, but Looney does have some defensives to make sure they stay alive. Right now, Samayam taking a lot of damage. There's a stun on the Sea-Doo. There's the Rubeam onto Looney, but they actually overlap trinkets once again. Blizzo and Looney, that could prove devastating the next time Incarnation comes around.
It's the mistakes you can't afford at this level. Once again, Blizzo and Looney with the overlap, unable therefore to use potentially a trinket on the next setup. Now Astral Shift's also forced out from Zeepai. I like the fact actually that he's trading out these Astral Shifts basically on cooldown, because given it's a 90-second cooldown, it means that there will always be up for Incarnation if he uses one in between. Actually a very smart play coming out of Zeepai, sort of player that would always make that play, but they need to find the win here. They're just struggling to force anything. Every single time there's always an answer. There's a Bark Skin, there's a Darkness, there's always something on Method Orange, and you can see that ticking time bomb, 50 seconds on the Living Spirit or Lively Spirit from that Innovate is what Method Orange are playing for.
Yeah, it's very hard for Skillcap EU to find a chink in the armor of Method Orange's
They might not even need it.
They might not even need it. Zeepai dropping very low right now to the onslaught pressure. Sea-Doo popping that Ascendance to keep them alive, keep them nice and healthy on HP. There's a Rubeam onto Looney, double stun on the Zeepai and Blizzo, but Zeepai trinkets out of it, trying to survive, still half on HP. Looney has no mana in there at all. He can't keep up Zeepai right now. He might have to use the Spiriting, but he gets put into it in prison. Zeepai lower, down he goes. Method Orange take another convincing game, and they go 2-0 up against Skillcap EU.
We have seen Method Orange time and time again this year come out with impressive wins. They are the #1 team in North America currently, but to see them not only go for something that's incredibly aggressive, to not only go for something that's setup based, but to also play skill capped in the very late portions of the game in dampening, that shows just how flexible Method Orange really is.
Yeah, it was great plays, excellent adaptation. You know, I saw a couple great moments where they pressured Blizzo so much that he was using globals in between stunning and mana rifts, and he missed a couple on Sea-Doo. Now, that definitely wouldn't have changed the course of the game because Sea-Doo was doing such a great job being so mana efficient. But I think that because they put Skillcap really on the back foot, Blizzo wasn't able to get over to Sea-Doo constantly and land those, and I think that's really what made the difference in the match.
I really, just looking at Sea-Doo's mana throughout the entirety of both of these games, he has been in the driver's seat, at least in that regard. But they've taken out 2 different compositions right now, Joe. Do you think that there's going to be a big change on the side of Skillcap?
I mean, I think that there may have to be. It just seems like they just don't have the right composition answer. I mean, there's a reason they're not queuing their Turbo Cleave. They are very confident in their composition, so they would play it if they feel like it could be this. But I think the Demon Hunter, like Swapsy said, some Swapsy math for you, Rich. He said this is a 100% counter to that Turbo Cleave, so Skillcap are at their wit's end. It's so funny. When we do talk about the compositions as well, Adrian, there were so many moments where when we talked to a team, and they were like, yeah, Turbo's just unbeatable. Yeah, Moonkin Demon Hunter, it's just unbeatable. And you would just hear it switch back and forth depending on who you were talking to. And it is kind of funny, though, even though there's not a consensus on which the best composition is, you look at the #1 team from NA and the #2 team from EU, they are both champions of those 2 compositions.
They really are, and I think that's one of the big advantages that comes from just spamming war games, spamming those practice games in the backstage. We see some teams that kind of sit on their practice and just hide strategies. These guys are the sort of teams that will just spam play consistently backstage, and they start to figure out the meta. They're figuring out, you know, hey, maybe we can't play the Turbo Cleave into the Demon Hunter Moonkin, but on the flip side, I would say that XRB should try it. Skillcap should try a faster paced comp here, because every single composition they've come up with, their idea is to out-dampen Method Orange. The reason I don't think they can do that is because I just think Trill is much better than Blizzo on the Demon Hunter, and Demon Hunter Restoration Shaman has the best dampening win condition right now, just because Demon Hunters with the mana burn are just so effective at looming the Shaman.
Trill just does more damage than other people. We've said it time and time again throughout the year. He is so remarkably impressive when you put him on that Demon Hunter. And now Skill-Capped EU, I mean, we just commended a team for sticking to their guns, right? And being able to actually say, okay, there are win conditions with the composition that we're playing. Now we're in a situation here, VHL, where we start to say, Skill-Capped EU should probably change their compositions. Do you think we're just in a different scenario here?
I think we are. It's tough. That last round, even while we were talking about, oh yeah, Method Orange has got this map, no problem, we still saw Sam-I-Am get extremely low many times. You know, if they can capitalize that and start to get momentum off of those moments where they're really pushing offensively, you know, that map looked a lot closer than I thought it was going to be with the comps.
Yeah, this is like one of those times where you say the scoreboard really doesn't fully represent what's going on in the series. We could potentially have a 3-0 here on our hands, but at the same time, in every single one of those games, Sam did look like potentially a target. We saw him getting chunked down time and time again. It does go to show as well that Sam definitely is feeling comfortable here on the main stage.
Yeah,
he's looking great.
Yeah, he is looking great. He is feeling comfortable, and I think that, as Richard pointed out, him on the summer finals, just having that experience on the LAN desk, just showcase that he can perform, and he is performing very well.
That's one way to definitely get the LAN jitters out of one of your DPS. Just be like, hey, heal this tournament. Just go for it. It's one of the toughest things that he could have had to possibly do. And I remember actually hearing teams talk about during War Games being like, oh man, he's actually really scary on that Shaman. It was a difficult road for them. They definitely didn't qualify from that LAN. They qualified from having the most points in the North American region. But Blackrook Hold going to be the map that gets locked in here. We've seen some interesting map choices today, VL.
Yeah, I don't know. This is ultra small. This is a really interesting setup. I wonder what they're thinking. Maybe some
it's turbo time.
Mistweaver
turbo so they can port far, possibly?
There are a few different classes that really like to be on a map like this, like to be able to use that portal, try to take advantage of that room. A lot of them seem kind of crazy to lock in here, though. I think that maybe the most logical thing to look for is, I'm not going to say it. I think that potentially they're looking to lock in.
I don't know. They have some good casters on their team.
I think Richard's just hoping for the Warlock.
There's a shot, right? There's a shot.
I actually asked Warwick, what is the chance that we meet the Warlock? And he likes the Warlock. This guy is 3K on the ladder playing the Warlock, but out of all the classes you'd play into, a Demon Hunter with like 5 interrupts for that train life probably isn't the time.
This isn't the time. I mean, I even tried to bait him while I was talking to him, trying to figure out if he would maybe even play Destro, right? And it definitely seems like for that Warlock to come out, it needs very particular comps to play into. And this probably isn't the one, Chief.
Not it, yes.
Yeah. So does that mean that we're going to see a turbo with a variant of a Monk actually healing?
I think that could be a good composition on this map, but I'm just not sure if they're confident enough in the turbo cleave. Otherwise, I feel like we would have seen that in the blind pick. So I feel like they're just kind of looking at their options right now, think about maybe they could just out-aggression them with certain compositions. I actually wonder if the Priest turbo could be good, but I'm not really sure.
It's an interesting call.
I really like it. I like the idea of the Priest turbo, actually. I think that could be the composition we see here. I think if you're skill capped, you've lost 2 games trying your counter picks. Method Orange have been better or have had the better composition. You can say it either way. Now skill capped, you would feel so much regret in the series if you didn't lock in something slightly more standard here. But no, I'm wrong. They are still going to have Warwick on the Moonkin, and they feel like maybe the closer quarters are going to be advantageous to them, but I'm not so sure.
I don't know. Nukran looked pretty good, you know, overall. It was much closer, you know, than the last round. So maybe going back to what was the closest is the best thing to do, especially if you don't know what to do. Their faces when they were looking at it, you know, Looney was stroking his chin, like, what do we do here? But, you know, to lock this in again, maybe it's the confidence they need.
I think to take it a step further, too, I don't necessarily think this is based off of the results that they have seen. I think this is based off of their plan. I think to a certain degree we're seeing them go, okay, we plan to play this composition into the main comp of Method Orange. That's why they locked it in blind on the Grand Arena. They tried to get a little cheeky when they actually saw the results up on the live stage. Now I think they're saying, let's just get back on script. It seems to be our higher percentage play.
Yeah, I think it is. And, you know, it did seem very close in that Grand Arena. And, you know, Warwick's was just a bit unlucky getting caught out line of sight, and it was deep into dampening, so they could bring it in. That is their home territory as well. Skill-Capped EU love to bring it into deep dampening. and maybe they could do it again on this map and have that room for Warwicks to line of sight Sam completely. Maybe it is the move.
Need to note that this is in the upper portion of the tournament. Neither of these teams have lost a single series. There's only one other team besides these two that have that claim, and that is Method Black. They are going to be waiting to play against the winner of this, whoever wins this series. And right now, we do look at Skill Cap to go, okay, if they do drop down to the lower portion of the bracket, they probably just chew teams up with their turbo. It looks like they should be able to shred, but Method Orange wants to keep that advantage. They want to knock them down to the lower portion of the bracket right now, and it looks like they definitely do have the comp to do it, Adrian.
I mean, they're looking great. The Demon Hunter Moonkin, of course, that's one of the strengths these guys have brought. Trill and the Demon Hunter, I mean, this guy knows no limits. He's been fantastic in PvE, he's been fantastic in PvP, raids, mythic dungeons, doesn't matter what you throw at this guy. He is the guy of World of Warcraft. He plays everything fantastically, multiple classes, range, melee, doesn't matter what you throw at him. And I mean, this tournament could end up being a tale of two methods here. We've got Method Black already sitting in the upper bracket final. They'll be playing later today. Method Orange one game away from joining them. That would be an absolutely fantastic game. And I mean, Skill Cap, I've never seen this team look so defeated in my life. These guys are so good.
I agree with that. I definitely do agree with that. I will say, though, Trill, just to counter what you said, I think he does know one limit, maybe, probably pretty well. But ultimately,
hey, to think about my puns here, okay?
to take a look and say we may have Method versus Method in that winner's portion of the bracket, determining who gets through to the grand final. I mean, that guarantees Method, at the very least, a berth into that grand final. And we are still in a position where we could see NA do it very early. We haven't seen NA take a BlizzCon since 2014. But then we also have someone that you predicted very early in the year to potentially take the entire thing. But that's all going to get started right here. Folks, make some noise because we may see a 3-0 for Method Orange.
Yeah, Method Orange are one game away from meeting Method Black in the upper bracket finals. They just need to win one more time here, and it's a small quarters map here for Blackroot Cold Arena that they would have to do it on.
Yeah, Method Orange are sticking with their guns right now. That Demon Hunter, Moonkin, Resto Shaman, they've already beat Skill Cap EU playing this composition. It was a tight game though on Nagrand Arena, so we're going to see if they can do that again. Sam already popping that Incarnation, forcing tons of defensive cooldowns already from Blizzard and Looney.
Yeah, once again, Sam uses the Innovate early to get that increased intellect, but Skill Caps were ready for it on this occasion. No real trade even coming from Looney. Now he has the Urban Shield Totem, using it to get Warwick aggressive as he trades out his Incarnation. Good double fair coming in from Blizzo. Might look for a follow-up Hex here. Looney looking for it. Cyclone DR instead coming out of Warwick, but Sam ducking behind the pillar should be able to just survive these cooldowns.
Blizzo is just relentless onto Sam, although he gets caught in a route a bit further away. Needs to try and keep up onto Sam. He gets the Storm off. Sam actually trinkets out of it, but it's not going to do too much right now in these early stages. He doesn't have the Buckskin either. Uses the Root Beam onto Looney. Warwick taking a ton of pressure right now, actually having to trinket out and use the Renewal already. Skill Cap the year on the back foot.
It's very interesting because both Moonkins are incredibly durable, right? Like they have the bear form, reduce a lot of the incoming damage, but when they build up those blue kind of astral bars and just spam out 2 or 3 Star Searches, the burst can be unreal, especially with the Incarnation. So it can be a very volatile matchup. Both these healers need to be reacting to such a fast rate, and the only reason this game goes so long into dampening sometimes is because you have Sea-Doo and Looney on those healers, because any other ones would falter, they'd overuse cooldowns or potentially just die early.
Yeah, these healers played defensively superb. We can already see that coming out from both of them throughout this entire series. Sam getting around half HP. He does have those defensive cooldowns right now. Blizzard getting cloned right now. They're just trying to get as much pressure as possible. And the other thing to know is that both these Moonkins, they are very tanky. And when Saman's in bear form, he just reduces Blizzard's down, all of Blizzard's damage, whereas Trill has quite a bit of chaotic damage that goes through that bear armor, which could give him a slight edge.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly showed that way in game 1. And I mean, the other thing is Blizzard's running full damage PvP talents, which means he doesn't actually have the spell reflect. So Samayam, not only can he sit in bear form, he can also just cast Cyclones after the pummels down and get those over onto Blizzo, giving himself some breathing room to get offensive, something that we've seen a couple of times already in this game. He's just kiting away right now, playing for that win condition. You can see the Innovate up in about 5 seconds here. It's going to be huge damage for Method Orange as per normal.
It will be huge damage indeed. So much burst that will come out from Samayam. And that also shows Blizzo's ability to rely on a pummel and not need the Sparrow Flood, because he knows he's going to hit that pummel. He knows he's going to disrupt that Cyclone, because he's just so good at it, does it time and time again. But now we see Samayam using that Innovate. It goes off right now, 2 seconds on Incarnation. And Blizzo and Warwicks, they all know it. They're just all line of sighting right now, being very careful. There's the Incarnation. Looney instantly using that Astral Shift to survive that. But a stun on the Blizzo, it calls him to use that Trinket and Rage Regeneration to survive right now. Good defensive trades though. Needed that Trinket and he needed that cooldown to survive.
There we see a full Solar Beam coming out from Sea-Doo. The Stars themselves trying to help Warwick, but it's just so far hasn't been enough. Skill-Cap to really looking for prayers here. They're looking for answers to this composition, this bulletproof composition that Method Orange are bringing to BlizzCon 2018. Samayam on the Troll, and I think this is another thing that just talks to how great Method Orange's drafts have been. Both Sea-Doo and Samayam are running the Troll ratio, which means when they do pop that Innovate, they have more haste for the Innovate stacks to build up on Sea-Doo, and then more haste for the Incarnation damage coming out of Samayam. These teams min-maxing to the absolute potential of their classes and characters, and that's why Method Orange looks so good year after year in these tournaments.
And that's why the Lively Spirit trait is so good. They're just maximizing that to get a ton of pressure every time he forces the Incarnation, and that's why we see Looney using Astral Shift at around 9% HP, because he needs to in order to survive the pressure from Samayam, which will come in around 2 minutes. Warwick's using his own Incarnation, getting a Root Beam on the Sea-Doo and Trill right there. That could be a scary situation for Samayam. Nice capstone as well. He follows up with a Cyclone. The Darkness has to come out right now. Samayam getting very low. Great offensive move coming in from Skill-Cap DU.
So we've talked a lot about Method Orange in the series. Clearly they lead it. What does Skill-Cap DU have to do to win this one? One of the big answers is something actually we saw on the other side in Game 2. They need to catch Trill off guard. If Trill is constantly rotating his reverse magic with Sea-Doo, it means they'll have basically crowd control breakers for the rest of the game. They need to find ways of either crowd controlling Trill during the Root Solar Beam on Sea-Doo, or just catching them in the double beam like they did just there. If they can do that reliably, maybe they can create something onto Samayam. That's what Skill-Cap DU are looking for, but it's so difficult when Sea-Doo and Trill are firstly spread out quite a lot, and secondly just playing so well.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get those maneuvers going on to Method Orange. Right now, they've done an incredible amount of CC on the Looney. They stunned him up now, ending that CC chain, but Warwick's is going to look nice and healthy. The Urban Wall term comes out right now as well. Stormbolt into Root Beam onto Sea-Doo. They're trying to get a lot of pressure, but they're unable to right now. Trill going to use that reverse magic to get Sea-Doo out of that Root Beam, which allows him to heal and keep his team topped off.
It's what we've been watching for, as Dampening is now starting to stack. 6% healing reduction for both of these teams, and we all know that the last time these two teams met, those Incarnations got more and more devastating, more and more destructive as Dampening stacked higher and higher. Samayam once again uses that Innovate, building up his damage. We're expecting to see Warwick ducking for cover, basically. Those Mortar Shells will be coming in momentarily here. The Stars of Samayam. Maybe Blizzo will be the target, but he can always trade out that Enrage Regeneration. There's a lot of self-healing, and Dampening isn't high enough yet that they would land the kill through that cooldown.
Yeah, there's the Incarnation, and tons of pressure coming in on the Warwicks. He gets so low on HP, he has to pop that Renewal, that Lively Spirit trait, doing absurd amounts of damage onto him. He uses the Barkskin as well. Blizzo taking pressure. He has the Enrage Regeneration if needed. He's holding on to it right now. Stormbolt on the Sea-Doo as well. They're trying to counter pressure, force out that Barkskin on the Samayam. Good defensive play by Skill-Cap DU. They are probably going to survive this Incarnation. Nice pummel coming out from Blizzo as well. They're looking to stay alive.
Yeah, and now this is the time where Skill-Cap DU need to make plays of their own happen. The cross-crowd control, honestly, I've been reasonably disappointed with. Maybe they need to find ways of like landing a root on Trill when he's overextending or something like that. They've just really faltered when it comes to that. They don't have that much crowd control in their team. Of course, the Fury Warrior only really brings that Stormbolt, but still, they need to find ways of maybe even trying to set up like cross a Stormbolt on Samayam with a Hex on Sea-Doo, something like this, just so they can create some pressure. They haven't really done it throughout the game. They're just kind of relying on raw damage from Warwick and Blizzo. but so far it just hasn't looked like it's been enough. Every time Method Orange rotate, they have a Darkness, they have a Barkskin, they have something to keep them alive, and they're just consistently going after that Innovate win condition, and it will win them the game at some point.
Yeah, it will. They need to change up something, and I think maybe their kill target should be Trill, because I feel like the Moonkin and the rest of Shaman are too durable, and it's too easy for them to just get away with little lockdown with this composition. So I'd like to see these swaps on Trill, but at the same time, Samayam getting very low on HP right now. Nice triple fear coming in from Blizzard, actually forcing the Trinket Tremor from Sea-Doo, as well as a reverse magic. So the next root beam from Warwicks could be an opportune moment for them to try and make a winning condition, but like you said, Adrian, it's still going to be very hard.
It's difficult, but that was the opening, right? Method Orange trade out Barkskin, they trade out the Trinket, and they trade out the reverse magic there. So big defensive cooldowns overlapped in a rare showcase of mistakes coming out from Method Orange. They're so close to winning this series. Skill cap to you, though. We'll have to see if they can actually find an opening to secure it right here, right now. Samayam in trouble, doesn't have that Barkskin. Huge offensive cooldowns coming out of Blizzo here. He's trying to make something happen, but once again, no crowd control over onto Sea-Doo. Maybe Warwick should even be playing the Mighty Bash or something, because every single root just gets reflected. Now he lands the Cyclone. They're trying to create something, but the Urban Shield Totem from Sea-Doo should mitigate all of that damage.
Yeah, with a nice Urban Wall Totem coming out from Sea-Doo there. That keeps Samayam nice and healthy. He also is going to get his Barkskin back. It's going to be a very difficult target for them to kill, but now a stun on the Looney Shear on the Warwick's. Blizzard actually the one taking a lot of pressure right now. Root Beam on the Looney. He trinkets out of that immediately. Knowing he needs to keep Blizzard alive, they really want him to keep that Enraged Regeneration cooldown for Samayam's Incarnation, which will come up very soon.
Yep, but both Trinkets overlap now. If they can just land a stun onto Blizzo with a Root Solar Beam onto Looney, that could potentially be the win. They are going for it without the Root Solar Beam available, though, so we'll have to watch what crowd control comes out over onto Looney. This is the big damage. Build the anticipation here. Method Orange could win the game with this play if they can land the damage over onto Blizzo or Warwick. We see the Incarnation. Let's see what Samayam can do.
Yeah, nice pummel coming in from Blizzard right away. Line of sight in right now for dear life. He pops that Enraged Regeneration. He's going to be fine for now. Samayam just trying to get some damage. He gets the Cyclone. He actually gets stunned on there. Looney popping the Ascent is going to try and keep his team alive right now. And it looks like they're doing a good job with that. It looks like they will live this Incarnation from Sam.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't have minded seeing Method Orange hold on to that Incarnation a little bit. Maybe if they'd had the Root Solar Beam, they would have had the perfect win condition there, but obviously the way they've been playing this game is just get out as many of those opportunities to win as possible. See Blizzo dropping low now. This would have been a perfect opportunity potentially for that Incarnation to be active, but Looney trades out his waste ratio, is able to walk away in this situation. Mana actually looking really good for Skill Cap to you. Of course, last two games when they've lost, it's been because Looney's completely ran out of mana, but Trill hasn't been getting to work on that mana tab. Now, his is the team that's dropping a little bit low here. Darkness, the only thing denying those executes. Samayam starting to falter a little bit, falling lower and lower in this game.
Yeah, Barkskin overlap with the Darkness there, so signs of life for Skill Cap DU to find an offense move. Nice cross pummel from Blizzard as well. Once again, a king of that ability. I don't think I've seen a warrior pummel better than Blizzard right now. Stormbot on the Sea-Doo as well. Samayam getting lower and lower on HP. Nice Cyclone as well. They're getting a lot of pressure, but he's just going to sit out in bare for Sea-Doo using that Urban Wall Totem as well as the Ascendants to keep Samayam alive.
Yep, Looney just needs to keep his team going a little bit longer. If they can get the offense here, no Barkskin on Samayam, no Urban Wall Totem for Sea-Doo. There's no real damage reduction for Blizzard as he pushes in here. He's looking for the kill. Meanwhile, though, taking a lot of damage from Trill. Triple Fear comes out. Trinket Tremor from Sea-Doo wants to keep his team offensive here. Blizzard in a little bit of trouble. No Spare Leg comes out, and he will fall. Method Orange advance to the upper bracket finals.
And they're going to do it with a clean sweep. 3-0 Method Orange marching on forward. And look, now the stage is set for the #1 against the #1. The #1 from NA against the #1 from EU. Method versus Method to close out our first day of BlizzCon. Folks, make some noise for Method Orange. And if I'm in the lower bracket right now, I'm pretty terrified because they just knocked down one of the wrecking balls of the entire year that wasn't able to play Turbo in this matchup, but might be able to play their strongest composition, VHL, when they get to the lower bracket.
You know, I gotta give a shout out to Blizzo. They've adapted against this Lively Spirit build so many times. Gotta harp on it again, there's no add-ons. There's no Gladiator Losa that says, innervate, innervate, when it goes off. Blizzo, Stormbolt into Fear. They got a they got a Cyclone off after. There was one of those innervates where I don't know if Sidu got any spells off, or maybe 1 or 2 during it, but it was huge. And he did it twice in a row, too.
Blizzo is truly one of the best players in the world, able to cut some of those win conditions away. Otherwise, I think against most teams, Method Orange would have been able to close it out even quicker with this composition.
Yeah, they're just able to shut down that Turbo Cleave with this composition. And like you said, in that lower bracket, you're going to need to have an answer against the Turbo Cleave. Otherwise, Skill Cap EU will tear you apart. But Method Orange, once again, playing this composition very well. And I mean, even though it was a 3-0 and a close game, they have to play it incredibly well to take them out.
You know, one of the reasons that we put so much pressure on this matchup and saying this could determine the entire tournament is because we have, even though it was a 3-0, we have so much faith in Skill Cap when they get to the lower portion of the bracket that this could still be the grand final.
I mean, Tempo Storm lost 3-0 to them, and now Tempo Storm will have to go through Skill Cap. They're another powerhouse roster in this tournament.
Wow.
That will be that could potentially be a series that we see later on. Of course, they have to play against potentially the Chinese team or the APAC team. We'll find that out momentarily as well. But I mean, that entire bracket looks scary. The Gosu Crew's also sitting down there. We can't forget about those guys. All 4 of these teams that were undefeated in the S bracket coming in today could still win BlizzCon in my book.
We have so many sharks there in the lower portion of the bracket, but let's take a look at the 2 scariest dogs here. They're both under the same banner. We got Method Black and Method Orange, and that is actually the series which closes out the day as well. One of those teams will advance to the grand final at the end of the evening. But then in the lower portion of the bracket, we got quite a bit of work to do still, trying to figure out who will be able to get there from the much scarier side of the bracket. And there are still quite a few regions represented there as well. Tempo Storm and Making a Movie will go head-to-head next. And then after that, Pen and Paper versus Order. Oh, and then they run straight into the scariest teams that were in the other. This is just, VL. There is just, I can't imagine a year scarier than this.
It's a blender down there. It is, the lower bracket is stacked right now. Of course, 2 Method teams waiting, even if you can make it out through it. This tournament is turning out to be so exciting.
I grew up watching you cover events like this, and never was there an event that had so many teams that could win the whole thing.
Yeah, no, normally we'd see 1 or 2 teams just float to the top, or, you know, sometimes we talk about regions that aren't that well represented and, you know, they come out of nowhere, but there are definitely, you know, some surprises. Of course, Jungyup's PHDK won that one year. Nobody was expecting it. So you never know. We could see some lower bracket runs from some team here.
We're going to find out soon as well, because we are going to be keeping it rocking all day long. We got 3 more series left today, and 2 of them are going to be elimination series, and I just cannot wait to see what happens, folks. We're going to be jumping into them shortly. Already today, we have sent quite a few teams home, but the real show was when we got to see the top teams that had not lost a single series. Now, Method Orange took out Skill Cap EU and sent them to the lower portion of the bracket. Who will remain?